All right, how's everybody doing? Let's see here. Let me get over here to the comments section. All right, can everybody hear the audio? Can you see the video? Does everything look good, sound good? You got a thumbs up or something? Somebody say something nice? All right. Can you hear me out there? Just trying to get a confirmation from somebody. All right. From Canada, Mountain Dew showed up today. All right, there's no entry fee to get in. The only thing I ask is just wherever you're from, just write where you're from. Mountain Dew's from Canada. So last 2 weeks ago, we had somebody from India on here. So just type in where you're from. And it's just kind of cool to see everybody. So thanks for showing up. We've been doing this a couple of Mondays now. It's been going pretty good. People seem to like it. I've been enjoying it. So I'm just going to keep rolling with it. But let's see. Loud and clear, Dan says. All right. Good. Well, so a couple of things that I was going to go over. Again, just right where you're from. Mountain Dew's from Canada. I don't see anybody else put anything in. Let's see. I got some new technology here. Check this out. Let's see if this works. See, Mountain Dew's from Canada. Yep, that's fancy. I love the internet. Love Miami. Den's from New York. I think you were on here last week, Den. Tennessee. Amethyst. I was living in Nashville until about a week ago. Jen. All right. Illinois. Got Dana from Illinois. Bob's on here. I'm me and Bob are going to do an interview tomorrow about music and the relationship with meditation. And so we'll put that out here in another week or so. But Bob's on here. Thanks for coming. James, I remember you. All right. Vancouver, Washington. Nice. All right. So I'll just get started. I'm going to do a little talking. And then if anybody has any questions, if you got anything that you could think of I'll try to answer them as best I can if you're interested. So try to come up with some questions. It helps to be interactive when there's nobody here. It makes it a little bit easier on me. But first of all, I will say, so we'll do some questions and answers. And last week we did a meditation at the end, and that went really well. I think we had about 15 or 20 people that went over there. We go to a Zoom call after this. I'll send a link in. So if you don't have Zoom, go download it right now and then stay on the live stream. And then we'll go over to the Zoom call here in a little bit when we get done talking and questions and answers and stuff. So anyway, so a couple of things that was going on. I guess I was going to share a couple of things that happened this week during my meditations. I've been thinking about getting a car for the past couple of weeks, and I drive a Lexus, and the name of my car, I named my car Alexis. But anyway, so I'd been thinking about getting a new car because I got a bunch of miles on mine. I drive mine everywhere, all over the place. But so I've been not meditating on it, but I just got done with the meditation for like an hour. And as soon as I got done, I went outside. But like I said, the past couple of weeks, I've been thinking about I might go look at a car. I looked it up online a couple of times. But I went outside, and there was this guy in my neighborhood that I don't know too many people in this neighborhood. I live on this lake, and it's a lot of transient people. But this guy just showed up out of nowhere, and he goes, "Hey, man, I see you drive a Lexus." I'm like, yeah, I drive a Lexus. He goes, "Man, I know you work with, I could tell that's your second one you've had, And I was like, man, yeah, well, how do you know?" And he lived around the corner, but I'd never met him before. And he goes, "Man, if you ever want a new one, I've got a Lexus dealership." And I went, "Oh, man." I started thinking, man, Oprah Winfrey's here, man. I'm about to get a free car, man. I started looking. I thought Oprah was going to come out of the woods there. I got all excited. But I didn't get a free car, but this guy showed up out of nowhere in my neighborhood and said, "Man, I've got a Lexus dealership. Come on down, man. It'll be easy. I'll make it real easy for you. Come on down and just get a new car whenever you want a new Lexus." I said, "Man, I'm probably going to see you." So I don't know. Anyway, that was just kind of a bizarre moment when I got done meditating. I just couldn't believe that I had a guy around the corner who has a Lexus dealership. But anyway, that was that. But I also got shrugs from Vermont. Nice. I've never been to Vermont, but almost went last year. It's a long story. But another thing that happened in one of my meditations this week is I swear that it was almost the complete opposite of that, but I felt like I spent time in like eternity. Like I was in a place where it was familiar but yet bizarre all at the same time. I wouldn't know how to explain it, but I feel like that was the place where I'll probably end up being for the rest of my life. Like, not my life, but at my afterlife. Like, it's almost like during this meditation, I got a glimpse of what it was like I'd been there before, and that's where I'm going to be going in the future. And like I said, it's so bizarre, I couldn't explain it to you, but yet it felt so familiar too at the same time. So I felt like I spent time in eternity just realizing where I'll probably be in my afterlife. And I know that sounds bizarre, but that's what happened to me. So it definitely it takes the edge off of dying. Since meditating, I've had that experience happen every so often, and just kind of just shows up randomly. But it just kind of shows up, and I feel like ever since I've started meditating, it's just taken the edge off of dying. Especially if anybody's been following me, I lost my brother to cancer. Especially with him, it just kind of knocked some levels off to where if he can do it, I could probably do it. And it just spending time in that place. It's like being able to see it. You go, well, this isn't so bad, But anyway, that was my experience with that. If that makes sense. But again, if you're just showing up on the live stream, all you have to do, there's no entry fee. You don't have to pay anything. It's free for at least the first hour, and you just have to type in where you're from. So just write where you're from. James is from Vancouver. And we got Jen from New York. But there's a couple things I was going to talk about. And again, if you have any questions, be thinking of something. I'll be happy to try to answer them as best I can. I talked to a lot of people this week. Since doing some of these videos, I've had a lot of people reach out to me on like Facebook or Instagram or on YouTube. And I've even had a couple of people find my phone number somehow or another, but that's all right. As long as I don't have to call the cops, it'll be all right. But so I talked to a good bit of people this week that are frustrated with meditation or meditating. And it's not everybody, but I would say that a lot of people I end up talking to they kind of have the same issues, the same problems. And I find that a lot of people that are frustrated with meditation, they're trying to like figure everything out before they jump into it and before they experience it. They have to like know everything. They want to know everything before they get there. But I will say from my past experiences in my life, and I can relate this even to meditation, my experience with meditation is, I do real estate and also play music as well too. And both of those careers that I've had, playing music, when I was a kid, I'd sit there, practice all this stuff, and I practiced for years, really, because I started when I was 9. And so I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, practicing. And it's just dreaming of one day getting on stage. And once I got on stage, it's like all that practicing I did just fell to the wayside. I wasn't ready. You have to get on stage, and you have to have that experience of getting on stage. And that's the only way you're really going to learn. And that's how it was for me in real estate. In real estate, I remember I spent my first 3 months in real estate, not even in real estate, but I just was studying it because I was afraid that I was going to do it wrong. I was afraid that I was like going to, look like a fool or an idiot, or I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to look stupid. So I spent 3 months studying foreclosures. I thought I was going to be intelligent and go ahead and get ahead of the game. And so I've been doing real estate for about 7 or 8 years now. And I spent the first 3 months studying foreclosures. And since I've been in real estate, I've done 0 foreclosures. And so I was studying a bunch of stuff that had nothing to do pertaining to anything other than just information. It hasn't served my real estate career at all. Now, that's not to say that maybe it won't in the future, but it definitely didn't help in the beginning. I had all this information I couldn't use. Just where I live, there's no foreclosures at all. There hasn't been. And if there were, there was very few, and a lot of people go after them. So anyway, I'm just trying to relate this to meditation. A lot of people get hung up on, trying to figure everything out before they can actually, they want to figure everything out before they can actually spend time letting go and connect with the meditation. Another thing that I found was when I was at one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's retreats. I remember I just started connecting with this meditation, and my body was shaking and convulsing. And I had these two women, this woman to the left and the right of me. And they were very analytical people. And one of them even told me she was a scientist, and very nice people. But she was very proud to tell me about, kind of regurgitate the science back to me of what Dr. Joe was talking about, because she understood it, which was fine. But as we went through a meditation, they saw that I was convulsing and I was shaking, and so I started sharing my experience with them. And these women had just been jotting down notes for like hours. They had pages of notes. And so after we got through this meditation, they saw that I was connecting with it, that my body was shaking, and I told them, these experiences I was having. They got excited, and they wanted to say, man, how do I get there? How do I get there? And I said, at this time, this was brand new to me, but I told them, I said, I can't really tell you how to get there, but I guarantee you it's not in those notes. That you can't go into these meditations. And, if you're in the middle of the meditation and go, oh, hold on, wait, I think I remember this, and go back and refer to your notes to page 17 in your notes. Like, that's not how it happens. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody that takes notes or tries to have an understanding about meditation, but I do think that a lot of this information that people are getting out there is just really information to make it okay to be able to let go and sit there and live inside of the present moment and spend time meditating. And that's all it's really for. You don't have to understand everything in order to meditate. You don't have to get it all. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody understands everything about meditation. There's some things that are understood, and there's just some things that I'm convinced you'll never understand. And the reason why is that meditation I told you where I felt like I spent time in eternity. I couldn't even paint where I was. Like, it was so out there and bizarre. I wouldn't know where to begin to try to explain it to somebody. So don't get hung up on all the details. Like, you have to know everything. There's really nothing that you have to know. And so if that makes sense, I just kind of want to share that. I had a good handful of people that reached out to me this week, and that was kind of a common theme, a common thread. It's almost like, someone at a swimming pool. I may be getting off the reservation here too far, but it's almost like someone at a swimming pool that shows up to go swimming, but they're sitting in the deep end, just like looking at the water going, I need to know if that's 64 degrees inside of the water, otherwise I'm not getting in. And, meanwhile, there's people jumping in. Some days it's going to be cold, some days it's going to be hot. And that's how it is in meditation. Some days you get into a meditation and it's wild and crazy. Some days you get in and like nothing really happens. But you just got to be okay jumping in. You don't have to understand everything to get in. It's like I've said before, it's the same muscle in your brain that it takes to blink your eyes. The problem is it's hard to explain to somebody how to blink. You can't really have a step-by-step program on how to do that. But I will say, spending time in the present moment is what a lot of people use to use those terms. And me personally, I don't like those terms, the present moment, the things like that, letting go. And to me, when I first started meditating, I was like, man, what does that mean? Like, what does that really mean? Letting go of what? Like the present moment. I'm here right now. But when people refer to a lot of times what the present moment is, I've come to realize that for me, being in the present moment, that's when you can connect with the meditation. And the present moment, really, to me, as I was thinking about it earlier today, is when you think about things that have happened to you in your past, and when you think about things that have happened in the future. And I think most people spend their time all day just thinking about what's going to happen later on, what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next year. And then you think about what happened last year, last week, yesterday. But what you have to do is you just have to start turning down the volume of what happened yesterday. And then you have to turn down the volume of what's going to happen tomorrow. Or, I think you know what I mean. Or next month or next year or 10 years from now. So you have to turn those volumes down. Now, one of the things that I see that a lot of people do during meditation is when they they try to say, all right, they're going to turn that down. When you turn the volume of both of those down, what are you left with? You're really left with less of who you are. I think that'd probably be the best way to describe it. I see a lot of people think, all right, well, I'm going to turn that down, and they think they have to be more. So they have to. Now they have to start. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else, and I'm going to be more of something else. No, you dial the whole thing back. Like the what you're thinking about in the past and what you're thinking about in the future, dial it all down. So that means you're even starting to shut down too. I remember I heard this guy say, you have to give meditation 100%, and I don't think that means that. I don't think that means that you have to go in like with all your muscles clenched at one time to try to blink your eyes or to meditate. I think that it means that maybe going in 100% into these meditations is to really just 100% not do anything, if that makes sense. So, that's what to me is what being in the present moment is turning down the volume of what's happened in the past and focusing on those things. Just dialing that down and dialing down the things that are coming up in the future, but don't be more. Don't try to pile that on and go, well, I got to do more of something else. I see that people go, all right, now I got to get deep into my heart, and I got to, since I'm turning it down over here, I got to turn it up somewhere else. Now you turn that down, and you're also turning yourself down, and you just kind of, this isn't as fancy of a word, but you just kind of start zoning out and just shutting it down. I always tell people when meditating, just if you've got your eyes closed, which you should, or you have a mask on, I think of a black television screen, and you just want to keep turning the television screen off. Even though it's off, you're going to turn it off again. And then turn off another TV. You want to start shutting everything down. And then just sit there and just be okay with sitting there. And this is where a lot of people have problems as well, too, is they start thinking, these thoughts are coming up. These thoughts are coming up, and they get aggravated and they get frustrated, which I understand that. I actually dealt with that this week. I had a meditation that I was getting frustrated in. I haven't gotten frustrated in a meditation in a long time now. I don't say that to brag. I'm just stating this. I normally just let it roll, but this one I was like wanted it to do something else, and it made it harder. It made it harder to stay there and meditate. I was ready to get out because it was aggravating. But meditation to me in some ways is, I was trying to think how to explain this without sounding too crazy, but meditation to me in some ways is kind of like, I was at the zoo a couple of months ago, and I just remember this like amazing aquarium that was there. And they had all these fish in there. And so I sat there and just looked at the aquarium. I was like, man, look at all these fish in here. Look at all these colors. This is amazing. I was actually in Cartagena, Colombia. And they just had all these wild, bizarre colors you've never seen before. Just all those, rainforest colors and stuff. So, but some of them were just juking and jiving and moving around and jolting around. You couldn't keep up with them, And then some of them were just sitting there just looking at you. And to me, I didn't think of it then, but I kind of thought about it looking back after talking to a lot of people, is that there's a lot of people, to me, that's a kind of an analogy of being in a meditation. There's a lot of people that go into a meditation and their thoughts, they get frustrated with their thoughts. But to me, that's like yelling at the aquarium to tell the fish to stop swimming in there. Like, it's not really going to happen. There's going to be some that are going to go swimming around. They're going to jolt around. You can't control those fish. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. And then some of them are just going to sit there and they're going to stare at you. And it's going to look weird. But, you just have to sit there and be okay with it. You can't control the fish inside of the aquarium. And so as long as you can sit there in front of that aquarium and just be fine with just enjoying the colors and going, hey, look at this. Some days the fish are going to be active, and some days they're not going to do anything, and just go, hey, well, this is what's happening today. And just observe it all. Don't try to engage and be controlling and try to control this fish to come over closer so you can get a better look at him. No, he's hiding over there in the corner. That's what's going on. So at some point, if you just stare there and just sit there and let go, then that fish will come out. So, but that's what a lot of people do, is they get frustrated with those thoughts inside of their, meditations and stuff. So It's an analogy that I felt like I could come up with that maybe could help some people, maybe not. I don't know, but yeah, just sit there, dial down the past, dial down the future, and then be less of who you are. Don't try to be more, deeper, and go deeper. This is not something you make out. You don't make this happen. This happens because you shut everything down, and then the movie gets played for you, and you just sit there and you watch it all happen. It doesn't have much to do with you. So you got to get over yourself and quit making this about you, and get rid of your preferences as well, too. You can't have your preferences. I had a conversation with this woman. She's really nice. She might be on here. I'm not going to name her name, but she was really nice. But she was telling me, well, I just only like the walking meditations. I don't like the other ones. Well, it just is, I don't really think it matters which one you do, but you can't. She was calling me because she was frustrated with meditation. And so I told her one of the issues that she's got is she's trying to design the meditation. She's trying to make every single meditation happen the way that she wants it to happen. Well, this doesn't have anything to do with what you want. Meditation knows exactly what to do. It's been doing it way before you were here. So you just have to figure out how to plug up into it. And then sit back and watch the movie. And you don't have to understand what happens. I had a woman tell me one time, I saw an elephant in my meditation. I don't know what that means. And I said, I don't either. But you may not ever know what it means. It may not mean anything. It might have just been a random elephant. I don't know. You're not going to figure everything out. Some things are going to make sense instantly, and you're going to get a new perspective on life. And some things, you'll just go, man, that's a pretty wild glitch going on there. So anyway, that's some of my rants there. I don't know if that makes sense, but does anybody have any questions? I think I've been going on for a little while now. Does anybody have any questions out there? Let me see here. I know, James, you had some questions last time. Let's see here. I'm going to put this up on the screen. I think this is a question here. Let's see here. Hold on a minute. This is it. Said the Westerners shouldn't be meddling with Kundalini energy, for we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. Hey, I mean, maybe so. I don't know. But I appreciate the info. You're right. I don't know what I'm getting into, but I know this it is. It isn't benefiting my life better than it was before. So I'm not going to argue with you on what your yoga teacher told you, but that's just what my experience is. So Stephanie says, I'll get frustrated and start over. Hold on. Sorry, I need to have like an assistant going through these questions here. All right, here's a question, I think. Cells from a smartphone influence and just go for a walk, paint, knit is kind of meditating. If not, what is the difference in just sitting? I've had people tell me that, like, my way of meditation is my way of meditating is just gardening. But if you're just going for a walk and you're just painting and you're just knitting, I get it. You're kind of zoning out. I will say I can't say for certain if you're meditating or not. That's probably a mild form of meditation or something. I don't have the answers to everything here, and I don't claim to. But I also think that people that have an interest in meditation also just, they're trying to find the easy way a lot of times to bypass just sitting there for an hour because it's frustrating. And I'll say this is, if you can't sit there for an hour, there's a reason why you can't sit there for an hour. And because it's not hard to do that. You can find a million reasons not to do it, but I could give you 10 million reasons why you should. And if you knew what was on the other side of that fence, then you would sit there in silence in the basement of your soul and figure out what it is that you're made of. And so I'm not speaking to you directly, but just I've met a lot of people that have said, I just kind of meditate when I'm gardening, and I meditate when I'm painting or whatever. Sure, yeah, I do the same thing. I go out there and I paint and I do stuff. But I do think that if you spend time in that silence and being able to let go and turn down the thinking of the past and turn down the thinking of the future and sit there in just total silence, give yourself a chance for doing that and really spend time trying to find that experience, because it is an incredible experience. If I had seen myself a year ago and seen myself now, then I would have said I lost my mind somewhere. But I know I'm a better person. Things have changed. All the good things have just been amplified. So I just recommend that you try sitting there. There's a reason why you're not going there. And it's probably because you're holding on to a bunch of crap that you don't want to see. And that's been my experience of talking to a lot of people. I'm not saying that's you specifically. I'm speaking in general. But it could be you. I don't know. Let's see. All right, here's this. I'm sorry, Verhone people. I know this is another question you were asking. Do I meditate every time at the same spot or sometimes in nature? I just meditate whenever I want to and wherever I want to. I don't get hung up on, there's, I will say I'll go out on this trail and I'll go out and meditate, but it's a little distracting to go out and do it in nature. Somebody might be walking by, or, I normally do it in my house, just in private, because then I probably have to explain to people what I'm doing, or I don't know. That's just what I do. I have done it outside, but is that better? I think only if you enjoy being outside. But I know the main thing is it doesn't matter where you are. If you're sitting next to a waterfall, if you're sitting on your couch, if you can figure out how to connect with the meditation, it doesn't matter really where you are. That's the main important thing. You can spend hours by a waterfall, but that waterfall isn't going to put you in a meditative state. I mean, you could argue that it could. It just makes you feel good or something, but I'm talking about that true deep meditation that you're really making a connection with. But you're asking me if I meditate every time in the same spot. No. I'll change it up. Sometimes I'll pull over on the side of the road and meditate for a while. It just depends. So I don't think that's a big deal, but I do enjoy just kind of doing it on my couch. All right, so let's see here. All right, does anybody have any questions? I need to scroll down. I got to get an assistant. I don't make any money doing this, though. I'd love to see an elephant. I'd love to see anything. Hey, Tracy. Yeah, I totally hear you. But I wouldn't. I see stuff and my body shakes and convulses, but there's not everybody that does. I've talked to people. I think it is kind of probably more on the rare side. I will tell you this, and I've said it before, is if there's meditations that I do that are wild, crazy, and I see things and they're total mystical experiences. And then there's meditations I do that just nothing happens. And if I had to pick one, then I would say, if I had to pick one that I could only have for the rest of my life, I would say it would just be those mundane meditations. Now, those wild ones and the mystical experiences, they're wild, and there's something to talk about. I mean, the next day at wherever you're going, you got to find somebody to talk to about it. But and it'll get your mind thinking for sure. But I would say that for me, I would just take those mundane meditations because I know that's where the real long-lasting changes have happened. And those mystical experiences, you can get perspectives and information really quickly sometimes. But for me, I don't really know why. I would probably take more of the mundane meditations, the ones that just you kind of get down and go, nothing's happening. I feel like you're every time you meditate, you're just stacking bricks on top of each other to where you're building this house. And you don't really see it over time, but over 3 to 6 months, a year, you look back and go, oh, the house is starting to look pretty good. That's starting to, when those mystical experiences are a quick fix. I shouldn't say they're a quick fix, but they come in and they go, and it's a bizarre thing to happen, but I don't think that should be your main goal. That's just an experience. I mean, you could probably go out there and do some ayahuasca or something like that. And I've never done that, so I can't relate it to meditation. I've never done any types of drugs, really. So I really don't know for certain. But that's, Anyway, I know you weren't asking a question, but I was kind of, all right, so just commenting on your statement there. So, question, I'm doing the Dr. Joe meditations twice a day for over a month now. Looking forward to a new future is a challenge when wholeness is the first goal. Can you touch on this? When wholeness is the first goal. I think that you have to. I'm trying to figure out the best. Looking forward to a new future is a challenge when wholeness is the first goal. So you're struggling, trying to feel whole. Here's what I do, and I don't think that there's one way to do anything, especially when it comes to meditation. Some people do this, some people do that, some people do breath work, and some people do ice baths, and some people meditate by waterfalls, and some people just meditate hanging upside down or whatever it is they do. But everybody kind of connects with it a little bit differently, or the people that do connect with it. So you have to there's not one way to do it. But for me, this is what I do: is I spend time before each meditation, and outside of the meditation, but specifically several minutes before each meditation, that I will sit there and start to daydream, with my eyes closed, that this is what's happening. If I'm going to manifest something, or, a new future, as you say, that it's already happened, that I'm in it right now. Like, I'm daydreaming that right now I am in that new house, in the new car, with the new people around me, or the new money, or whatever it may be that you're looking for. And I spend time there feeling that, and really trying to, I'll even jump around before doing that to try to create some energy. I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. I don't know if that works or not. I feel like that works for me. I'm kind of always tinkering with things to see what kind of works. But works one day doesn't always work the other day. I mean, some people ask me about meditations. Which meditation should I do? Like, that's going to be the answer to, their problems, or, connecting with the meditation. Like, they'll have an experience because they listen to that meditation. It's not the meditation, it is you. So, but to kind of answer your question, I will spend time up front just imagining and daydreaming that I am there, that whatever that I'm thinking about, and I am whole, and it's already happened, if that makes sense. But I'll do that for about 5 minutes. After that, I just let go, and I just let the meditation do its thing. And sometimes I catch myself starting to, I don't know, every meditation is a little different, but I'll catch myself in there starting to tinker around and thinking about the things that I started up front. But I normally just try to let go and just let the meditation take off and do its thing. I've studied a lot with Dr. Joe Dispenza's, and I think there's a lot of people on here that probably come from his work as well too. But he talks about, being able to live as if it's already happened. And so that's kind of what I do. And I'll start to do that with inside the meditation sometimes too. So anyway, if you just close your eyes, you can't mess it up. But don't try to go into a meditation and do 4, 5, 6, 7 things. If you're struggling with it, just refine it down to, like, let me just focus on my heart during this, and focus on just dialing it down. Don't try to come in and manifest to $10 million on one meditation. You could bring this big old heavy load, truckload of problems that you got into one meditation. Learn how to connect with it. Once you start to connect with it, then everything starts to open up, and it all just starts to grow and come out. So some things happen quickly, and some things just take over time. Off the fence. Do you listen to anything while meditating? Yes, I listen to... I mainly do Dr. Joe. Captain says, do you listen to anything while meditating? Yeah, I normally do Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, and they're all typically guided. And there's music involved with them. And but I'll also do it in silence sometimes. Also, I'll do other people's meditations. But yes, I kind of like the guided ones. I like to have something there. I like to have something there, but it's not necessary that you have to. You can sit there in silence and do it. So, but that's what I do. All right. Good night. Well, listen. All All right. Do you just try to go blank? I think Tracy's got another answer here. Question. You just try to go blank. Do you try to go blank and go with it? Are you asking, thinking of achieving something? I think I said this just a few minutes ago, but I normally kind of ask and live as if it's already happened right now. Spend time feeling that and with some energy. And then once the meditation starts, once I connect up to the computer, I just hold on for the ride and let it do its thing. And it'll take me down a path that I maybe sometimes don't want to go. Maybe it has nothing to do with what I just kind of thought up front. But what I've realized is the meditation knows what you need, and not and sometimes it always gives you what you need instead of what you want, which in return, what you need, you'll end up getting what you want. It's been my experience. So I hope that answers your question. All right, how do you turn the volume down? Any tips? How long do you recommend a meditation session should be? That's a good question. Thank you, Jen. And so how do you turn down the volume? You got to quit caring so much. You got to quit caring. You have to get over yourself. And you got to quit thinking that this meditating has something to do with you. All you're doing is just getting yourself out of the way and all your crap and stuff you're holding on to in order to plug up with that computer, the cell phone, the computer connection to where you start meditating. Now, I guess that wasn't really your question, but how you're saying, how do I turn down the volume? So that's why there's different strategies out there. And I personally Dr. Joe talks about the breath work, and Wim Hof talks about breath work, and also doing ice baths, but also just sitting there and not caring so much. Just, quit caring about what happened in the past, and quit just, it is letting go, but you just kind of have to. That's the best way that I can describe it, is just quit caring so much. You're trying to make something happen that you don't have to make anything happen. That's the thing, is there's nothing to make happen. You just stop trying to make it happen. A lot of times that's what the issue is that I've found with people, is by turning the volume down. It's just stop trying to make it happen. Just let go. I'd said this before on another video, but one of the best descriptions that I've heard of what meditation is, and I don't know who said it, but I heard it somewhere, and somebody out there might know, but one of the best descriptions I heard was meditating is like being on a boat, like a canoe, and you're going down a river, and you've got oars on it. You're out there rowing your boat, and that's your life. You're doing your life just rowing around. The current's kind of pushing you around, but you go this way, and you go that way, but you get in the boat, and then you go down the river, and you just let go of the oars, and you just cross your arms, and you sit there. And you are 110% okay with wherever that boat goes. You don't sit there and go, no, before you've been trying to use those oars to control the current. Now you're going to let the current just take over. So there's not like an easy thing that I can tell you to do. That breath work is something that helps. The ice baths definitely helps for me. I don't do them all the time, but when I do, that definitely helps turn down the volume, if you want to look into that. But those are just strategies to help. But at the end of the day, it's you that has to jump off of the plane with the parachute on. No one's going to push you. Those things try to help get you there. They make it easier to let go of jumping out of the plane, but ultimately you have to be the one that goes, all right, here we go. So I get it is tough. Like I said, it's like trying to tell somebody how to blink. It's hard to think. I think people have written books and books on meditation, which is, describing how to blink. So I try to throw out all these things because I think people connect with different things, and some people get it with just these different kind of scenarios. So, all right, James says he got into the June Cancun week-long event. I'm so excited. All right, James. I'm assuming you're talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza's Cancun week-long event, but that's exciting. Yeah, that's you'll have a good time if you've never been. I will say that nobody has ever. I've been to 4 events. I hate to brag, but you could also say I'm crazy for doing it too. But I've been to 4 events, and so there's thousands of people at these things, and I've never met one person at the end of it that says it's too expensive or they didn't enjoy it. Now, I've met people a couple days into it that say, I don't know if I like this thing, but by the end of the week, so far I haven't found anybody at all that at some point, I think that's why it does a whole week, because at some point everybody gets it. And it's hard not to get, even if you don't try out there. You don't have to go to those events in order to meditate and receive the benefits from it. He just creates an environment that's kind of adds jet fuel to the meditations and makes it easier. He gives a lot of strategies with the breath work, and also just being around that many people meditating. Miss Tracy was talking about, how do you do it? I mean, it helps to get around 2,000 people to meditate. So if you find time, you could go do that. You could say it's expensive. Sure it is, but I guarantee you, no matter where you are financially, by the end of that week, you're not going to say it was expensive. So that's just what you're saying before you go to it. So, all right. Tracy said, very helpful. Thank you. What is an ice bath? Jen says, sorry, I just assume that myself, sometimes people know what I'm talking about. But an ice bath, there's a guy, Wim Hof, that was kind of famous for coming out over the past couple of years about teaching breath work and also teaching people how to do ice baths. Ice baths, basically, for me, when it pertains to meditation, if you have these thoughts of thinking of the past and thinking of the future, when you get into an ice bath, all you can think about is it's cold. Now, you're going to have to go on YouTube, find some more information. I'm not an expert with ice baths, but there's a lot of benefits from doing that. But for me, if you want to get to a place to where you can quiet your mind down, an ice bath will do that real fast. And if you've got any problems before that ice bath will take them all away. Because once you hop in that ice bath, it makes every other thing you did that day seem very insignificant, because it's tough to get in there. But as you build that muscle in your mind, it's really not that tough to get into once you realize how beneficial it is for you. So for me, when it pertains to meditation, it helps turn down that volume like Tracy was talking about. How do you do it? So I would just suggest you go out there and kind of research Wim Hof. And there's some other people that teach those techniques as well too. So does anybody, if you got questions, right now is a good time to answer them. Also, before we're going to do a meditation, I hope everybody could come over here in just a little bit, but what I'm going to do is I got 2 meditations that we can choose from. And I got Bob, because I talked to him earlier. Bob's going to help me out on this. We got 2, and you guys get to decide which one we're going to do. So I'm going to reveal that to you right now. We got 2 of them. We got, they're both Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you have to lay down at the end, but you might. There's no breath work in them. It's just, they're about an hour-long meditations, both of them are. But one of them is synchronizing your energy to the mystical. And then the other one is synchronizing your energy to a new life. So those are the 2. So if you... tell me which one you want to do. Write it in the comments. Let me know. So it's either the mystical or a new life. That's between the 2 meditations that we're going to be working with today. So write it in the comments. Bob's going to tally it up here, and then once we answer a few more questions, we're going to just find out which one we're going to do, and then we're going to head over and do the meditations. We're going to do that on a Zoom call. So I'll give everybody a Zoom link here in a few minutes. All right, so again, if anybody has any more questions, right now is a good time to ask them, because we've been going for about 45 minutes and we got to meditate too. So, all right, so so here's one from Sebastian. I struggle with falling asleep during meditation. Might be because I don't get a lot of interrupted sleep. Any suggestions? I struggle with falling asleep during meditation. Yeah, I mean, are you laying down? Are you sitting up? Maybe you should turn the AC on and get it real cold. Maybe you should do a meditation and ice bath. No, I'm being silly a little bit, but if you're laying down, that's probably maybe you should sit up and try doing that. I get it. I've fallen asleep before too. Don't stress out about it. It's just gonna happen sometimes. I did one on Tuesday, and I couldn't tell you if I meditated for 5 minutes or for an hour, but I know I fell asleep at some point. When I woke up the next day, I still had my eye mask on. Maybe I was meditating all night. I don't know, but it happens sometimes, and I just don't stress out about it. It's just, you're teetering in between sleep and being awake. That's what meditation kind of is. So it's easy to go down that road sometimes. But, if you sit up, it should be a little bit easier. But that's what I would suggest doing. I don't have a lot of strategies for that. Maybe if you blasted the AC to where you wouldn't want to go to sleep, that might help. Okay, so Jen's got a question of how long do you recommend a meditation session should be? As much as you could do. I do anywhere from an hour to 3 hours a day. And that sounds absolutely ridiculous, even with me saying it right now. I'd probably lean more towards doing an hour a day. And I would say at least once a week, I get up to 3 hours for myself. And so I would do as much as you can. The more time you can spend time in that space, the more time that the more time you can spend time in that space, the quicker you're going to get out of what all your problems are, / start getting on the path of what you, or who you really want to be in life. You kind of have to experience it for yourself. If the reason why I think I do an hour to 3 hours a day, because if I do 3 hours, it's like I'm getting closer. And plus, it's also like once you get into the meditation, once you really learn how to connect with it, it's like watching your favorite TV show. Now, I don't really watch TV, but I have before, and I used to have TV shows when I was younger that I'd get excited about. I'd get up and go to the bathroom. I'd come running back. I didn't want to miss a thing. That's what kind of, when you connect with the meditation, it's like there's nothing better. You let go of everything. You sit back, and the movie just is played, and you're just sitting there watching it. You don't have to do anything, and it's and so if I'm healing myself, if I'm going to a better place because of spending time there, well, I'm also enjoying doing it. It's not like I really get that bored. I did in the beginning, but I don't now. It's exciting every time I do it. I look forward to it. All right, let's see here. So, yes, sir. So, are you guys voting on the mystical or the new life? Write it in the comments. Bob's tallying it up. Once I get done answering these questions. All right, so the Iceman. All right, so here we go. Dana says, if we have to lay down for Zoom meditation, need to know in advance. I'll have to move rooms. Thanks. I believe that at the end of this one, I'm going to say that I can't remember, but I would say that at the end of this one, we probably would lay down for about 5 minutes. It's not the whole time. So if there's any laying down, it would be 5 minutes at the end of the meditation. So that's up to you. So, but it's definitely not the whole time if that does happen. So, but I just can't remember. I'm sorry. I'll try to remember next time to get that information. All right, Tracy says she's got to go. All right, let's see here. I noticed that when I meditate for at least 45 minutes, let me put this up here. All right, Bob says the mystical wins. All right, so I'll answer this question. We'll get over to the meditation here in a second here. All right, so I noticed that when I meditate for at least 45 minutes before bed, I sleep longer and uninterrupted. So I'm grateful for your Monday meditations. I know I will sleep well tonight. I totally get it. Before I meditated, I slept terrible. My sleep was awful. And I definitely, now that I meditate, I have very little issues with sleep. Every once in a while it creeps back, but it's not nearly what it was before. I used to have a CPAP machine on. I don't have that anymore. I never had sleep apnea, but anyway, I've done a video on that too if you want to check it out. I'll put it in the description below if anybody wants to watch that once we end this live stream. So, yeah, I totally get it. I sleep better too when I meditate. So, all right, Bob says the mystical wins. That's what we're going to do. The people have spoken. All right, Shell from St. Louis. All right, we're going to go to a Zoom call. Let me get the Zoom call up. Just give me like 2 minutes. I'm going to get this link up for everybody, so stay right here. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, right now is a good time to do it. And like this video. That way, if there might be some people that want to see it out there. Give me just a second. I'm going to get you a link. I'm going to put it in the comments. And then you click on that link, and then we'll come over to the Zoom call. But after I send the link and we shut this down, then we're going to start in give everybody about 5 minutes to use the restroom or whatever you got to do. So take about a 5-minute break, and we'll all meet back up in the Zoom call over there. So give me just a second to get the Zoom call together. It won't take but just a second. So let me see.
Recording in progress.
All right, now let me, participants. All right, I think this is it. All right. Should be the Zoom link right here. That's the Zoom link there. So if you want to come join the meditation with us, I highly recommend it. We did it last week. It was powerful. We had a bunch of people with us. Even if you can only do like 10 minutes, just come do 10 minutes with us. Whatever. Just come over. We ain't hurting nobody. It's just a little meditation. Don't be scared. That's right. So Dana made it over. All right. So the link's working. Good. All right, so we're going to give it about 5 minutes. Anybody needs to do whatever you got to do, and then we're going to switch over. And just make sure when you come in, you hit the mute button, and then I'll talk a little bit to make sure everything's working over there. And yeah, so we'll see you here in a few minutes. Anybody have any questions, any problems about how to get over there? I know last week a couple people did. All right, Jen says she's going to come over. Bob, you coming over? James? Don't be scared now. It's just a little meditation. We aren't hurting anybody. All right. I'll see y'all over there in just a minute, all right? All right.